Okay, so today we're going to look at units of capacity. Units of volume deal with inches and feet and stuff. Units of capacity, of course, we're dealing with things like gallons. And we're going to start out with gallons as our largest unit. There are units bigger than a gallon, like a bushel. Anybody know how big a bushel is? 8 gallons. A peck is 2 gallons. Haven't you heard Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers? What's that? I don't want to know.
Goddamn liter of cola.
So anyway, also bigger than gallons, there's barrels. Anybody know how much is in a barrel?
A lot of whiskey. Isn't it like 52 gallons?
Well, 55 is a drum. A barrel, if you're talking about beer, is 31 and a half gallons.
You can buy a barrel or whatever, a big
Yeah.
wooden barrel of whiskey at Sam's Club.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
$5,000.
That's 31 and a half gallons right there. That's there's a little bit of whiskey there. That'll keep you busy for a while.
That's just one night out here. Oh man.
Smaller than a gallon, what do we have?
Quart.
How many quarts are in a gallon? The word quart actually comes from the word quarter. Probably there's 4 of them. Smaller than a quart. Pint. How many pints are in a quart? 2. So that'd be 8 pints in a gallon.
Oh.
Smaller than a pint is a cup. How many cups are in a pint? 2. A cup used to be called a half pint. There's 2 cups. Smaller than a cup, we have fluid ounces. 8 fluid ounces in a cup. Smaller than a fluid ounce. Tablespoons. There's 2 tablespoons in a fluid ounce. It's out there. Technically, a lot of times, usually instead of going 2 tablespoons in a fluid ounce, they go 1 cup. Is 16 tablespoons instead. Same difference though. There are 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. Now a little note here, just so you know, abbreviation for tablespoon. I use the capital TBSP. Sometimes it's a small TBSP. Sometimes it's just a capital T. Sometimes it's a capital TSP. For teaspoon, I use the small TSP. Notice that's very similar to the capital TSP. Really easy to confuse it. Or sometimes just a small t. Modern abbreviations, it's the capital T and small t that get used now mostly. But it can be very confusing. Trust me, when you're making cookies or something, if the recipe calls for 3 teaspoons of salt, and you accidentally put in 3 tablespoons, those cookies don't taste so good. Trust me. A teaspoon is just a small measuring spoon. It's about like that. Comes in your little measuring spoons, yeah. Smaller than a teaspoon, there are units that a lot of people don't think are real. But 1 teaspoon contains 2. Oops. I won't use abbreviation. 2 dashes. 1 dash contains 3 pinches. And 1 pinch is 2 smidgens. A dash.
What are we getting into this Smurfs here?
Well, this is just these are the cooking abbreviations. And since we're going to do it, just as well make you guys knowledgeable. A dash is like a salt shaker, but there was more of a standard spice shaker back in the day. A little bit bigger with bigger holes. A dash was literally you made 1 dash of it, and that was how much it was. A cup is actually your cupped hand. Yes, exactly. It was what you could actually dump into your cupped hand. I have a good friend of mine who's a caterer, and she doesn't ever use a measuring spoon for a cup. She just dumps the flour or sugar in her hand, and she's almost dead. I've double checked her before. she's like pretty much dead on every time.
What if you have a big hand like me?
Well, then you just learn how much fills it up.
Or you just measure a cup and you put it in there and you just look at it. All right,
That's how much.
Faulty method.
So anyway, the dash is the the shaker, the spice shaker. A pinch, of course, you just reach in and pinch, and whatever stays between your fingers is a pinch. A smidgen, to me, is kind of. Oh yeah.
Put juice in. I mean,
Well, yeah. Usually we're looking at finely ground spices, not your rough cut tobacco. A smidgen is a little bit more. A smidgen's a little bit more disgusting, if you ask me, because that's where you just stick your. You don't use a pinch, you stick your finger in, and whatever sticks to your finger, you just flick that in the recipe. That's a smidgen. So if you got really sweaty fingers, you got really big smidgens.
How's the smidgen of anything going to make a difference?
Don't ask me. Since you guys brought it up, in the metric system, of course, it's liters. So it'd be just like the meters, you got decimeters, you have deciliters, centiliters, and milliliters, decaliters, hectoliters, and kiloliters. Just like all the other units, the hecto and hecto and deca don't get used much. Centiliters don't get used hardly at all. So it's kilo, the standard liters, and the milliliter that gets used mostly. Deciliters do get used some in the medical field, like your blood tests. If they tell you that your blood sugar is like 97, that's 97 milligrams of blood glucose for every deciliter of blood.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if I told you I got 11 miles per gallon, could you tell me how many liters?
To the kilometer?
To a mile?
Yeah.
How many?
11 miles to the gallon, right? Now, we haven't really learned this conversion yet, but 1 liter, or 1 gallon, I should say, is 3.785 liters. Okay? We'll learn that conversion in the next couple of classes. So you have 11 miles over 1 gallon. We have to get rid of the gallons here. Since the gallons are on bottom, we're going to put them on top. 3.785 liters. So now, just like any of our other conversions, the gallons cross-cancel out. This is 11 miles over 3.785. So you're going to do 11 divided by 3.785. Gives you about 2.9 miles per liter. So yeah, 3 miles per liter would be pretty good mileage for you. Okay, since the quiz took up most of our time, pretty much. In the packet I gave you, page 238, 43 through 50. Page 265, 41 through 48. Go through our units of capacity. Now, one of the nice things, by the way, about the metric system, the definition of a milliliter is 1 centimeter cubed. It's 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So when you're looking at like a motorcycle, let's say you've got a 1200 cc motorcycle. Anybody know what cc stands for? Cubic centimeters. So 1200 cc's is 1200 cubic centimeters. Well, a cubic centimeter is a milliliter. So that's 1200 milliliters. Well, to convert from milliliters to liters, it's 3 spots to the left. So that's a 1.2 liter engine, which means like a 1500 cc motorcycle would be a 1.4 liter engine. That's as big of a motor as goes in some of your smaller 4-cylinder cars. Because I've seen 1.4 liter. That's some of the old 3-cylinder Geos and stuff, like a 1.3 or a 1.4 liter in some of those.
1 liter. 3-cylinder, 1 liter.
Is there? And what's that in?
Geo Metro.
Really? I thought that was like a 1.3 or 1.4 liter.
I thought it was just a 1 liter.
They made them with some 1 liters.
Really?
1
Oh,
liter,
man.
4 cylinders.
So that's a lot smaller than electric motorcycles out there. So anyway, page 238, 43 through 50, 265, 41 through 48.